How's it going, guys? How's it going? Welcome aboard. If you're on the replay, thanks for watching. Pay attention to this one too, folks. This one is going to be something that happened to me very young, luckily, and changed my life. So I'm going to definitely share some good stuff with you guys. What's going down, man? What's going down? So stoked again to have you guys here. And I'm going to wait a little bit, let some people roll in here, but I'm going to be talking about the power of choice. And this is good too for parents, because this is something that I want to instill in my kid at a very young age, especially because of the direction that I was going in my life. And that's where the fork in the road met. And I could have kept going down the road that I was going, or I could have kept going down the road, the path of good, and the path of understanding that my choices have a greater or equal impact on everything you do, no matter what it is. It could be for negative or positive. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's KarlSchuckert. I'm an internet, online, and offline marketer. I also am a software developer. My family owns a restaurant. I'm also have a background in the insurance industry. I'm a sales coach. I have a sales system online that I offer people in the insurance industry, and just have a lot of stuff. I've been living around, moving around, and mentored under some great multi-millionaire people, and I just have a lot of knowledge that I want to pass on. This is like giver's gain, you know, like one of those things that you always hear about, giver's gain. So my purpose is to try to change someone's life. If I can impact one person, I'm pretty happy, but of course I'd be happy if I can impact more, and I believe that I can. The other thing that I really love about Periscope too, before I get into my topic, is that it seems like we're becoming to get interconnected with people that are like-minded, people that resonate with each other, people that have a positive mindset, and it seems like we're having this critical mass happening right now. So it's an awesome platform to speak your message and get out there and try to do it. Also too, if you're new to Periscope and you don't know how to share, or you don't know how to do any of the things, if you're on iPhone or iOS, you can just swipe over and scroll up and you'll see a button that says share all. You can share all to everybody, or you can share to Facebook, or you can share to individual people that you think that would enjoy this message. The other thing you can do is, when you're on the normal screen, on the bottom right hand corner, you can actually, I think it'll be on this side for you, but you can basically tap on the bottom and you will see hearts that'll pop up. So especially, you know, this is a social currency. It lets a lot of us speakers know that we're impacting you and we're giving you some kind of value or something like that. So just want to let you know, for whoever's giving me those hearts right now, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. You know, hearts are one of those things that you don't have to give, but again, they're welcome, and definitely makes me happy, and it lets me know that my message is getting across. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about me and my upbringing, and a lot of people don't know this about me. Some people do, and I think on another Periscope I talked about my family was extremely poor. My parents were very young. They ran away from home when they had me, so they didn't know what they were doing. They're great people. This is nothing to say bad about them. They're great people. They were just young, and they had a son at a very young age, where they were still kids themselves. So I don't blame them for this. And in fact, my environment is the reason why I am who I am today. So I probably wouldn't have been here if I was spoon-fed with a silver spoon. So with that in mind, think about it as an upbringing of moving from town to town, school to school. In elementary school, I went to 8 different elementary schools. Okay, as a young kid, I felt like I was a smart kid. I was getting things pretty well, but I got sick of having to find new friends over and over again. I was getting in school fights every day. I started just not caring. I started becoming a rebellious personality, and it was because I was blaming my parents for it. But when you're a kid and you don't know any better, there's no one to point you out into that direction. So I was hanging out with bad kids. I was hanging out with bad people that were just into bad stuff. They were into, like, you know, stealing stuff from the local store, or trying to get alcohol at a very young age in junior high, I remember, and just really making some bad decisions. But I didn't know until I got into high school, and I had a teacher. Her name was Jimmy, and I went to one of the roughest high schools in Reno. And luckily I had a really good teacher there was only a handful of teachers that really stuck out in my life, and she's one of them. That she really instilled this, and she had a class that I was forced to go into, which was called what was it called? Lifestyle or something like that. It was called like life skills. Okay, they were like, you have to go to this class because you're failing miserably in all of your courses. And on top of that, I started to build like dyslexias and stuff like that. Sometimes even today, I'll look at words or I'll hear something and I'll say and I'll think it's something else. So all of this is a fault of me not paying attention when I was in high school. So what this teacher said was, she sat me down and she goes, Karl, gosh, you need to understand the power of choice. Do you understand that your decisions that you're making right now in life will fully impact the rest of your life? You don't see that right now, but it's a domino effect, that every single decision that you make will create a greater or equal reaction every single time, no matter what the decision is. So I just sat there and I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, I'm getting bad grades in school because I want my parents to see me having bad grades, so maybe they'll punish me, or maybe they'll get me to start studying, and that's what I thought was right. And that's not what was right, because my parents weren't. They were young, right? They were still partying themselves. They weren't thinking about, I mean, of course, they'd see my report card and they'd be like, oh, cool, Fs. Great job, Karl. Great job. You got a bunch of Fs. So I finally, okay, in high school, it took me to that point where my teacher got me to realize that I was not affecting anybody else but myself. And I had to take full responsibility for my decisions, because later on in life I was going to be, and I'm still today, I still struggle with some things that I chose not to benefit from when I was in school, because I didn't see school as that. I saw school as a joke, and I just felt like I couldn't wait till I could get out. But until that pivotal point in my life, I started changing everything. I started caring about going to school on time. I started caring about getting better grades. I started caring about that because I realized that I was being affected by it right at that moment, and that in the future it was just going to be harder and harder and harder for me to, one, like society says, get a good job. Sorry, there's a lot of trucks driving by right now and you probably hear them. I like to do these periscopes outside too, by the way, from the restaurant. It just pulls me away if there's nobody out here, and it gives me a chance to just fully focus on you. So, but right now I'm talking about my story about how your decisions will greatly impact your future, and that no matter what your decision is, if it's a positive decision that's positively going to help people or help yourself down the road, you're going to get better from it. If it's a negative decision, you could end up in jail. You can end up a junkie on drugs or something like that. You could end up dead. Worst case scenario, you end up dead. So you don't realize these things. You don't see these things unless you really start thinking about the fact that your decision is everything is based off decisions. And the other thing that I want to mention here is that you also need to reprogram yourself to make decisions. That decisions are good, that change is good. And that's the thing, is sometimes people are afraid to make a decision because they're afraid of the change that they might have in their life. And so when I'm talking about also about making decisions, is that sometimes with people, they have this indecision problem where you can't make any decisions, or like analysis paralysis. I need to understand the pros and the cons and the pros and the cons of this, and I need to overstudy it before I decide to make a decision. The problem with that is that you make no decision and you fail, or you miss out on the opportunity that it possibly could be for you. So make a decision, right or wrong. Sometimes, especially like CEOs, why they're CEOs is because they're good at making decisions fast. And it doesn't matter if they're right or wrong, it's the fact that they're making decisions. So that indecision is the second part of my message, is the worst decision you possibly could ever make. Now, you do obviously need to do your due diligence, or your affidavit, or whatever you want to call it, and figure out what's going to be best for you, your family, or your business, and crush it from there. But make decisions. Don't wait out. If you see something and you know you could 100% get behind it, you believe in it, go for it, man. This is your chance. This is your opportunity to do it. So today's Monday. I sometimes like to just I want to start trying to get on these a little bit earlier, and again, my goal is to get to 100 by the 31st of October. Hopefully we'll get there. I did the math. I think I need to do at least 3 a day to get there, but I think we can get there. And I'm being held accountable by people all around me, going, when are you going to do your next Periscope? I need my daily motivation. So I think Kirk said that. Thank you for doing that. Also, my wife, my friend Chris, when I was out to see him, he was telling me, hey, do a Periscope, man, do a Periscope. Like, everybody was holding me accountable to doing it. So I just want to definitely give you guys that message today, and definitely want to say thank you for joining me. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but before I do go, do you guys have any questions? What's your perspective on the momentum of making decisions? My perspective, Aaron, is that if you can make a decision quick and you can get behind it, do it. The faster, the better. Even if it's no, I can't do it, okay? Sometimes there's a reason why you need to overthink it, because usually if you're overthinking it too much, that usually means you shouldn't do it, unless you're thinking about it for a marketing reason. Like if you're seeing something that's new in the industry and you're like, wow, what is this? Let me study it, let me understand it, let me see how I can use it as a marketing platform or something like that. That's a little bit different. That might take a little bit longer, but it really just depends on the decision. If it's a simple decision, just make it, go with it, and get it done, get it over with. Yes or no. Go with it. Whatever you choose, yes or no. And guys, you can pivot. Your decisions can pivot. If you've ever read the book, The Lean Startup by Eric Weiss, I think his name is, great book. He talks about how businesses start lean instead of starting so feature-rich with all these bells and whistles, and then pivot to make decisions based off what the market is demanding on the spot. So it really just depends. There's something else too. I always call it the committee in my head. Hi, Carl, hitting hearts for you. Right on, bro. Thanks, Joe, for hitting hearts. Guys, whoever's not hitting hearts, why are you not hitting hearts? This is solid for you. Make sure you do, man. Press, 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 press. And you can only give up to 500 at a time, but you know that you can scroll out and then X out and then come right back onto a live feed and hit more X's. Right on. We got a few more hearts on there. So anyway, going back to what I was saying about decisions. This is going to sound weird, but this is just my mind. I call it the committee, okay? Of course, I am my own character. I'm Karl on this earth, on this planet. This is who I am. Right now, I'm Karl. But I call this thing the committee in our head. And if you think of like a diagram that goes from this way to this way, this is like yes, and this is no, and this is like neutral, right? You have some of your decisions are kind of, I always think of them like if you were to picture it in your head. I'm a very visual person, so it's easy for me to do. But if you were to just picture it, something in your head on a decision, and where would that needle be? You know, like a 0% to 100%, where would that needle be? And then use that as a way to help you make decisions quickly and fast. That's usually how I do it. Do you guys have any other questions or anything for me in regards to decision processes, or maybe even something that this might have inspired for you? I think this is really big to train your kids about, train everybody around you about how their decisions can rightfully impact them or negatively impact them. But once I think people understand the power of decision, your life will literally change. So I don't know how much more I can make, make this more impactful for you. But it's seriously gold, and it's very important that you understand this. If you missed a lot of this, go back, watch the replay, and when you do, make sure to pound out those hearts, man, because the hearts are everything. That just shows me that you're listening, that you care, and that you want me to continue to do these periscopes. Again, I have a whole list of stuff I put together. I've got one I've been working on. It's basically going to be like the basics of how to use Periscope, and then there's going to be some intermediate stuff. I've got some stuff on NLP. I've actually got like 3 or 4 periscopes I'm going to do on peer-to-peer NLP. And I'm not talking about NLP to like get people to do stuff that they don't want. I'm talking about NLP to help you communicate better with people, help you understand their thinking types better. And then also I've got a thing on branding that I'm going to do. And then I've got a whole list of like motivational stuff. I'm a very big motivational guy. I like to get inspired by other people, and then I like to inspire other people and get them pumped up about whatever they're doing, because I think that we all have a dream inside of us. We just don't know how to get it out. So my challenge, like every single time I leave Periscope, I give the same exact challenge, but my biggest challenge is to get out of your comfort zone. Wherever you're at right now, you're comfortable. You're sitting down somewhere and you're comfortable. I guarantee it. So get outside, do something crazy. Just don't get in trouble. Just don't do something illegal. Just do something you've never done, something you've thought about doing, but you haven't had the chance to do it, or you just thought, I will do it one day. Do it today. There's no more one day. Make the decision, do it today, and then you'll see what's going to come back to you. So again, thank you again for the hearts. Got some green love there. Super stoked about it. Give you one last chance, guys. You have any other questions or anything you want to ask me before I go? Make sure it's about decision making, decision processes, and also the power of choice. No? Doesn't sound like it. Just lots of hearts. Just lots of heart love. And I could just chill with you guys. I've been drinking some coffee. We've got some friends coming here. One of our friends just did the Ironman up here in Lake Tahoe. They're coming. I had some other friends cancel that are from Vegas here. They're here for a wedding, but they just don't have a car. Any books on decision that I could think of? Actually, I do. The 8th Habit. Stephen Covey, The 8th Habit. That's a very good book. Buy the audio. The book is super long to read. It'll probably take you forever. You'll probably sit on it and never do it. So buy the audio book and sit down and listen to it. It's very, very deep. And it's very good about decision making. And it's like, if you've ever heard of the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, it's the 8th habit. So 7 Habits of Highly Successful People's book is about that thick. And it's one of my favorite books. It really is. It's one of those defining books for sure. Because these are like simple things that you can put into it. Yeah, definitely get it. But the 8th habit is like this thick, and it's one habit. So you think 7 habits in this area and 8 in that area. It's crazy. And I think it was like maybe almost one of the last books that Stephen Covey put out there. And he's one of my favorite authors. And what I love about him too is that he actually, I think he reads his books too. He's a very good speaker. He's profound. It's very unfortunate that we lost him so early, but a very smart guy. And it's one of those books that if you gotta read it, and it makes you think deep thoughts, and then think about how you can implement these things into your life, and then take it further. So like the 8th habit, I can kind of give you a kind of a quick review of it. What it's about is it's about listening to your inner voice, and then about getting your inner voice out. So I think if you get so in order for you to have good relationships, I think with other people, you need to have a good relationship with yourself. So in order to have a good relationship for yourself, you need to understand how to listen for certain things and read your body, read your mind, and read your neuro system constantly. So that's what that book's about. It's about reading your inner voice and then getting in touch with it and then bringing it out to the world, and using platforms like Periscope or Meerkat or Blab or Facebook or any of these social media outlets or YouTube Live or whatever. Repurposing all this stuff, whatever. So again, guys, thanks again for listening. I'm going to try to get 2 more out today, maybe a few more. I really need to get myself in the process and in the habit of doing more of these. And the only way to do that is you got to do it for 21 days, and then it becomes a habit. So again, thanks for joining, and we'll see you soon on the next one.